Welcome back. A week ago, I returned home from my first ever solo ride, and it was a very long ride. It was 200 miles one way. I went down to Ohio to visit some friends for a girls' weekend with just Rushme, the beautiful red bike in the back, myself, bags, my GoPro, a helmet with speakers in it, and my jams and prayers. Those were all I really took with me.
That was actually a brave first endeavor, going solo on a long trip.
Yeah, well, and I tried to stick with mostly back roads because, you know, this was how I got over 1,000 miles total. So, well, we take a little break from our build here on Hari, which you should check out the series for. I thought it might be fun to review the footage I got from the GoPro with Aaron here, and we can judge pros and cons of my decisions. You know, while we do that, we figure we should have some mimosas and samosas, and you should grab yourself a little snack while we get into it.
Cheers.
Cheers. First off, I thought I would give you what everybody's here for, is my failures. You know, everybody, when you go on a ride, like, it doesn't even need to be a long ride, you risk having some close calls, and you know, when you increase the mileage, you just kind of increase your risk of having those close calls. So I had 2 major close calls, and that's what I'm going to show you here. The first one was right when I was leaving for the trip. I was leaving work, super excited, nervous, a lot of feelings and anxiety in general, and I hit a turn that I've done, I don't know, 50 times by now. Like probably 10 to 15 miles per hour faster than I've ever done it before, which was wrong. So let's hit it. So I'm coming in, I have a lean, and I realize then, oh no, 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 no. I come to a stop, and there's nobody around, thankfully. I'll say in general, I have reduced my risk by leaving at odd times so that there's not a lot of other traffic, and I've been on back roads, right? So again, the number of traffic is just lower. And in that scenario, I just was going in way too hot. Yeah. I was capable of doing the lean, barely. Like, I think if I had leaned any more, I would have been on the ground. And I had bags on the back of Rushme here, so like the center of gravity was different from what I'm used to anyway. Yeah. So me realizing I'm in the wrong lane, I realized it in the first curve that I was too hot, and I'm like, so like the mind questions going on. I was like, okay, do I go off-road or do I go other lane? Yeah. Off-road or other lane? And I'm like, there's no one around, other lane. Yeah. Because if I went off-road, I mean, it could have messed up my bike, security would have to come, like.
Yeah, it just would have, the trip would have been a mess.
I think I would have stopped. I don't know that I would have ridden home and driven in my car.
The footage that I saw though, you controlled it really, really well. You almost went into the dirt, and then you hypercompensated. Yeah. But you paid attention that there was no one coming on the other side. So, to me, I think you did extremely well. And the fact that you're recognizing that, you know, you were nervous, this was your first trip, there's that excitement is crucial. It's good to shake it off early. Yeah. And then the rest of the trip, hopefully, you know, pretty sure will go through. It was good.
So the second mistake was on my way home. I had ridden probably about an hour to an hour and a half. I had a couple of hiccups at the very beginning, just like at the very beginning of this, but nothing that dramatic. By the hour to hour and a half mark, I had gotten tired. I hadn't ridden longer than an hour before, so I'm just kind of getting exhausted. I'm uncomfortable. The positioning of Rushme, when you have a couple bags behind you, I'm more forward than usual, which puts all my angles at the wrong angle, and I decide to make a turn with like a rush feeling, rather than having patience and just waiting for the cars to clear and then make my turn. Like I've made every other turn on this trip. This one I did differently. So let's roll the tape. So she goes. There's a pickup truck. It felt much closer in person than I'll just let this roll for a minute, but it felt like I was inches from that pickup truck. Like my focus went solely on that pickup truck. I'm like, no, I gotta look away from the truck. And then I came up to the next stop sign, and I swear I let 15 cars go because I just needed to like breathe for a second. The car behind me turned right, so that I wasn't holding up traffic, and I just needed to be sure the next turn I made wasn't going to be the same turn. But I remember being hard on the throttle and then trying to get on the brake, but not really, and then panicking about the truck.
Yeah.
But from the footage I just watched, I had more of a like indecision with my own balance.
Right.
Like it wasn't the same as a death wobble. It was low speed, like you saw it. It was not freeway death wobble. It was just me being like, oh no, 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 no.
To me, that footage was super scary because I think it's called object fixation. What happens is when you start driving, especially in a panic, you tend to look at what you want to avoid instead of tending to look at where you need to go. So although you're, like when you look at the footage, you were trying to move away from the truck, but you were looking at the truck, so you kept going back and forth.
Yeah, you can tell that I was trying to look away.
Correct.
Because like it would go and then go. Like, I'm in the wrong lane. Why am I in the wrong lane?
Right. The first one would have ended in a fall.
Yeah.
To me, it's not super scary, but typically when you collide against something that's like, I don't know, 6,000 pounds going at speed, that.
I'll say like on that turn, he had just come from a stop sign that was pretty close. He was not going very fast. He gave me so much room. I am very thankful for that pickup truck driver.
Right.
And the car behind me that I was pulling out in front of also gave me a lot of room, especially after that.
I really appreciate it. This is like a pro tip to the motorists. Not all motorcyclists on the road are experienced. Please be patient with them. Yeah. I know some of us are not very bright and we do stupid things we're not supposed to do. But in general, most of us motorcyclists are people like you. Yeah. So I'm glad they were tolerant and made sure you had
Nobody
enough
honked
space.
at me. Nobody, like if the guy behind me had gotten closer, I would have just pulled over and let him go. Like I'm not out here to fight anybody.
Right.
But
yeah, that one was scary.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made
that
it
was a
okay.
serious pucker moment. I really think that if I had a more powerful bike, that I could have just driven into the front of that truck.
Yeah.
Like, without a lot of extra effort.
Yep. I'll say this.
So.
I've said this a million times. You don't need a very powerful bike to hurt yourself.
No.
You don't.
No, I almost killed myself on a 350, so.
The first one I understand.
Yeah. Sometimes you just come out hot.
Yeah. Like overestimate your abilities or like overestimate the capability of the bike, etc. I've done it 100 times.
And you're still here.
Or I think I'm like so cool, or I was trying to show off in front of my friends.
I wasn't even showing off for anybody. I just was like, yeah, I'm on my trip. Woo! I'm not at work anymore. Woo! So the final thing I wanted to show, this isn't anywhere near the scale of what the other two were, but this was my only stall on a public road.
Oh yeah, these are good.
So at this point, I had driven through 2 or 3 roundabouts, no issue.
Yeah.
This one had traffic, so I'm going. You can't hear the audio that well on this laptop, but you can hear the and then I'm about to go, and it goes. Right there. And then I'm quick with the push, and then I gun it. And I'm like, let's go. I think my from a start clutch release is slow still sometimes.
Yeah.
And like I'll catch it even while I'm riding now after these 400 miles. When I'm coming from a stop and I'm looking around, it's like I'm spending too much time looking around that I'm not focused on the speed in which I need to release the clutch.
Yeah.
Or on that case, it was a slight ramp going into it wasn't dramatic enough to roll me backward, but enough to put load on the bike so that I couldn't just do a clutch release. I had to do some throttle. That was my only public road stall.
You're doing well. Even after all these years, I stall my bikes. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
I did stall at least 1 or 2 other times.
Yeah.
But it was in the parking lot showing my bike to my friends at girls' night. So, you know, I'm sure she'll comment below and let me know about having the kickstand up when I go into first gear.
Stalling your bike should be made fun of. It's the universal law.
I wanted to make sure it was in here. So now that the worst of the worst is over, let's talk about some of the things I was uncomfortable with on this ride. Before this, I had only ridden on pavement, cement, asphalt. I had ridden in rain, but in general, a dry, clean, paved road. And my GPS thought that I should take a dirt road. You can watch this moment of slight panic in me where I'm like, do I know enough about this area to find a different way around? And then me going, nope, I guess I'll go on the dirt road. So what I was nervous about was all the dirt roads around me get really big potholes and they're in odd patterns, so I was worried I'd have to do a lot of swerving, or they'll get those chatter bump, kind of like a rumble strip style potholes. And this one didn't. It was very dry. It was sloped, so I was struggling at first to maintain my lane until I realized no one's on the road with me. Why don't I just ride in the middle?
Right.
And then when someone's on the road with me, I'll get over to the side.
Right.
That seemed to work out for me. The mentality of just drive it like it's a one-laner until there's traffic. Because it was interesting, especially with the bags on. I was really pulling to the side when I was on the side.
Yeah. Usually traction is an issue in lower gears.
Well, and all the really bad bumps are generally near that side of the road because that's where the water runoff is, right?
And all the loose gravels on that side.
Yes. Stay the heck away from that.
Yep. Do not attempt.
So yeah, this is just lots of footage of me on a dirt road going, when is it gonna end? Can I get back on pavement now? I'm living and I want it to be over. In general, I found that the dirt road wasn't as bad as I thought. Boy, I was so nervous on this turn though, because I had to pull really far forward so that I could see to the left.
Yeah.
And I know some people ride on these dirt roads 70 miles an hour. And
also taking off on a dirt road.
Yeah. It's beautiful though. I really like, I like the vibes of a dirt road, with the big trees that cover the road, the farms you go by, the horses you can shout horse at, and cows you can shout cows at. I like that. Plus they're low traffic, usually. Ended up turning off of this one. And then later in the trip, Alright, so now I'm saying goodbye to Allie. She's suggesting that she'll buy a bike and we could be a biker gang.
Nice.
So then I start up the bike and I don't stall in front of her for the second time. So then I hope I'm in first because when I was trying to move it around, I was putting it in gear, but I didn't know which gear it was in. And I just gently let it roll down this very, very loose gravel driveway onto a paved road, and I didn't die. But then I got to go on a bunch of bridges. I thought the bridges were really fun. I'd never really ridden on bridges before. That was one small one. Oh no, yeah, this had the fun railroad. I came back the other way, and I almost got air. This is a nice big bridge. It was fun. This is just outside Ann Arbor.
Gotcha.
All I liked about this bridge was it was cement. It wasn't the ribbed cement.
Cement, yeah.
Which is, I think, what this one? No, this one's just another small bridge. I like this bridge a lot. Yeah. It was a good bridge.
This boulder.
This one is the ribbed cement.
Yeah.
Feeling like it's pulling you.
Right.
The next thing that we should talk about is the different things I learned, the things that maybe didn't go smoothly the first try. Today I'd like to show you what Rush Me looks like trying to climb a hill in top gear. And you're watching the speed drop 10 and then come back up because I'm like, I got another half of this hill to go, so I'm going back up to 60. And it just pulls right back down. I learned that staying in top gear is probably not the solution. Going down a gear worked pretty well. Going down 2 gears is what I needed for a lot of them.
Damn, not bad.
Yeah, I couldn't even really maintain the speed in the real top gear because actual top gear I think is the eco gear. It's not really designed to give you a lot of torque, whereas top gear is also not really designed to give you a lot of torque. So that gear just below, it's a mid-range torque gear. That's what I've found on Rush Me.
We should find the gear ratios that'll be able to tell you.
Yeah. The next thing was as I left the cabin, I needed to ride with my helmet open because it was so dark and I have a tinted helmet. When I closed the visor, I realized there was a bug in my helmet.
Oh,
and
no.
I didn't realize it until I got here. And then you see the speed just kind of drops because I had to take the hand off the gas in order to move it up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That was pretty funny. I hadn't dealt with that before. It's a new fear.
Yeah.
The bug I got was thankfully not an attacking bug, not one that needed to eat me.
Yeah. Wasn't a wasp or a bee or something?
No. It was just a bug. It felt very large, being so close to my eyes. But I learned how you get on your bike when you have a ton of stuff on it. I learned if you have a big pile of stuff here, you can't just put your leg over, right? You're gonna hit all your stuff. But what you can do is grab the brake, make sure it's twisted, it's leaned on the kickstand, stand on the peg completely, stand all the way up, and then you can get super high. It's wild, right? I had no idea. You can just stand on it. Like, it's hilarious to me.
Very creative.
I didn't think about it. They call that a cowboy mount.
Yeah. Watch this.
I couldn't do that.
Oh, you couldn't?
No.
Dang.
Well, especially like my pants, like that I ride in.
Oh, they
they're
have
much
armor. Yeah,
tighter, and they have knee armor, so I
Yeah.
have a lot less. I have to have my legs straight.
Straight, yeah. The
So
cowboy
like trying
mount.
to like I don't know.
Yeah. The cowboy mount
It was fun.
amazing. Climb on it.
You get tall. I don't know. I see people like standing on their bikes and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. And then I tried it on it. I'm like, she's so stable. It's like I'm messing with a 400-pound piece of machinery. And finally, kind of what we enjoyed about the trip. I don't think I've smiled for 5 hours straight before.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to the top of the hill, you can see for miles and miles.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you just feel so free.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just you. Like, you don't need to pull over for somebody else. You don't need to worry about if they've got gas. You don't need, like, you're just on your ride, going wherever you need to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's really freeing. And then when you get into the cornfields, like, I didn't expect to really enjoy speeding up next to all these corn stalks flying by. And like, I know there are deer in there. Comment below and tell me to watch for deer. I did watch for deer.
Yeah. Watch for
But
deer.
it felt so, I don't know, like American, I think is the best way to say it, right? I'm a Midwest girl. I want to get on my classic bike and fly through the cornfields.
I am not a Midwest girl, and it still feels liberating.
And then like you get on these, you know, curvier roads. This one's just north of Ann Arbor, following the river.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go very quick around it because every time I got there was traffic, but I still really enjoyed like the view of everything, all the trees lining the roads. The road was in beautiful condition.
Yeah. And you don't need to go fast to have fun.
Right. I really enjoyed this stretch of road. I was surprised at the number of cars that were very patient with me. Like I mentioned, the truck was extremely kind to me.
Right.
But in general, I only had one or two cars that either didn't see me or didn't care. And every other car saw me and gave me so much room. And like it made the trip really nice, honestly.
Yeah.
Like there was one I remember pickup truck that saw me coming, and he waited probably 2 or 3 minutes for me to pass him before he turned onto the road so that he could follow at like 3 or 4 car lengths behind me for like 10 miles.
Thank you, kind sir,
Right?
ma'am. Yeah.
I think he just wanted, oh, and this is a fun curve. I almost biffed it, but I didn't. It got close.
Ooh.
I had a lot of those. But then, oh my goodness, no, we're at the end. Well, if you can't see it, you're gonna have to believe me. But I found a bunch of, like a couple Harley riders, and I rode with them for 50 miles.
That's
Like-
amazing. You were like a baby Harley.
I kept my distance because I don't want to ruin their ride, and they didn't have helmets on to communicate, and I don't know the hand signals for
Right.
what things mean. So like I don't want to get too close and interrupt, but like it was really fun because it no longer felt like, well, I should pull over a little so it's easier for people to pass me. Like I was getting more in my head about like disrupting traffic. And then you get behind these Harley riders and they do not care.
Yeah.
Like they're just out for a ride. It's a Sunday, beautiful day. It's out for a ride, right?
Yeah, some of the coolest people I know are Harley owners. My brother-in-law was one. You know, just, they're all chill. I understand there's a lot of beef between sport bikes and Harleys, but motorcycles
Every bike
in general,
I found was really friendly.
Yeah.
Like, everybody gave me the wave, and these guys didn't seem upset to have me following them around for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And they kind of helped me pace, actually, which was kind of nice. Like figuring out the right speeds because in those areas, it's very much like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where it's 50 to 55 for a long stretch, 25, 50 to 55, right? And they literally have a restaurant there that's called the Speed Trap. Because on one side of the restaurant it's 55, on the other side of the restaurant is 25. And cops will sit in their parking lot and give you a ticket. Like, what? So I really enjoyed it. I have really good memories of the different drivers out there watching out for me and the other bikers out there who let me ride with them. Or like when I got into Perrysburg, there was a little group of like dirt bike riders downtown Perrysburg, and I can hear them. I'm like just in my lane focusing on the cars around me, and then I just hear wee wee wee, and I'm like, who's there? And then like they caught up to me and just in time for them to turn. But it was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
It's a good time.
Sounds like a brilliant trip.
Yeah.
It was like
Overall,
successful.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do it again. This time maybe take the turns a little slower. But, you know, I think some people go quick when they get anxious or when they lose temper. I think those are the two times that you speed, right?
Yeah. Always gotta, it's easier to say, stay calm.
I was vibing for most of it.
Yeah.
Like I had my music on. It was long straight roads in Ohio.
Yeah.
For 50 miles, no turn, right?
Right.
So like I'm just there bopping along.
That's, you know, some of my best trips have just been that.
Yeah.
Just chill and ride. Like big tips are like stay calm, prepare, and don't ride when you're very tired or tired for that matter.
Yeah.
Like lapses in judgment on a motorcycle is definitely bad injuries.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like you saw at the beginning of this. That was a lapse of judgment. But thank you for joining us today for our mimosas and samosas, and some motorcycles, I guess. This kind of wraps up our lunch break. We kind of got to get the tank back on this bike and try to get the battery replaced and maybe put some oil in it before we start it.
Hopefully get her fired up.
It's gotta start. But appreciate you watching. If you would,
wish us luck.
Yeah, we need it. If you are entertained by this and you want to follow on the journey, hit that subscribe button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you have lots of opinions and feelings, feel free to leave it in the comments. That'd be fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. All right, bye.